going on, guys? My name is Slcmof and I'm back again with another video, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down and analyzing the most recent little 30-second trailer that Zack Snyder went on to Conan and released live on air, which was absolutely amazing. I wish you guys could have seen my reaction to it. I was pretty excited because this was an awesome little 30-second teaser, and similar to the last one, it may at face value not provide that much, but really there's a lot going on here, and again I'm going to break it down similar to what I did last time because you guys seem to enjoy that video. Let's address the primary complaint that I've seen regarding this most recent little 30-second trailer, and that is that Superman is a little too aggressive, a little too threatening or menacing, and that he doesn't really feel Superman-y. He's a little too pushy for Superman. And to me, what's interesting about this is that even though I wasn't really around in 2013 in terms of, like covering, the movies and the games and everything like that I do now, even though I wasn't around back then in 2013 when Man of Steel came out, I remember there was a lot of backlash about Superman in a whole that still continues on today, and that is the kind of stereotype. I mean, it's an opinion, so it's kind of unfair to classify it as a stereotype, but a lot of people think that Superman is a boring Boy Scout. He is the fundamental superhero. He does everything right, practically. He's morally succinct in most every way, so a lot of people find that not very intriguing. I'm not one of those people, although I do acknowledge that position and respect that position. So what's interesting is that after 2013, Man of Steel came out, a lot of people were like, oh, Superman's too much of a Boy Scout, blah, blah, blah. And then sure enough, Zack Snyder listens, he says, okay, we don't want Superman to be too much of a Boy Scout. What are we going to do? We're going to make him more menacing, more threatening. And he delivers this line, the bat is dead. And now it's all, oh, that's not something Superman would say. And I was kind of tweeting about this earlier because it did kind of rile me up. It's just like, Zack Snyder, I feel for you, man. You're not in a winning position. No matter what you do, you lose. And that kind of sucks, but that's the movie industry, and I'm sure he's used to it. So without further ado, let's get into the review. Once again, we get further context that Superman really feels in control of Batman. He almost views him as an existential threat, as I've spoken in a previous video, so I won't go into much depth about it. I'll link it in the description below, but he doesn't really view him as anything noteworthy in terms of a threat, so he kind of shrugs him off, he flies away, he's bored of hearing his speech, he doesn't think that he's actually a threat. This is illustrated even further by the context of his speech, where he basically tells him that he's killed him. The bat is effectively dead. You are not alive right now. So he feels in complete control, and I think that that's going to totally shift in the fight when Batman gets on the armor, and I think that he will defeat Superman in that fight because he understands Superman, but Superman doesn't understand him, and that will be his ultimate downfall, his arrogance and also his lack of understanding of his opponent. But of course, they do all make up in the end, and my number one hope for that fight is that we have multiple characters involved, and I know that's kind of ironic for me. Months ago, I was saying, I want it to only be Batman and Superman, but one of the things I would love to see is Oracle, Barbara Gordon, dishing Batman information as he's fighting Superman. That would just be an amazing moment that I've always dreamed of seeing on the big screen. And then as per, Superman and other characters, I hope that Wonder Woman gets involved, and I would love the idea of another Justice League member trying to break up the fight. So these, legends are going at it, and there's somebody in the middle trying to break it up like a high school brawl. I think that would be absolutely amazing. But again, I think that we should have actually expected Superman to have this more menacing, a little more threatening attitude, because even after Lex Luthor creates Doomsday, Superman delivers that line, "What have you done?" and he has this sneeringly pessimistic and threatening face. I can't really describe it. I think you know what I'm talking about. Boy Scout Superman's not in the movie, and I think that he's had enough of this garbage. He's getting reprimanded by these humans who he essentially saved. He saved their entire race and a few years ago, and now he's getting, people are picketing him outside of the Capitol building, and he's just like, what the hell, what, come on guys, I'm a good guy, go easy on me guys, I'm trying to help you out here. But they don't know that, and Batman doesn't know that, and Batman, for good reason, is fearful of what Superman can do, because even if Superman gets put into the hands of Lex Luthor, he could easily be turned into a super weapon that could destroy all of mankind. I still think that the biggest hurdle that DC and Warner Brothers are going to have to jump over in terms of promoting this movie is actually showing people what the movie is about. And I was tweeting this on Twitter as well, and a lot of people seem to agree with me. And that I've been asked so many times by my parents, by friends at school that aren't really, as familiar with comic book movies, didn't follow Man of Steel or anything like that. A lot of people asking, why are Batman and Superman fighting each other? I thought that they were both good guys. The answer is yes, they are both good guys, but I find that maybe I'm just not good at explaining it, but whenever I do to my parents and such, they get immediately bored or disinterested or just don't understand what I'm saying. It's like, oh yeah, well, at the end of the last movie, he was fighting this big alien, spaceships and all this stuff, and they just zone out, you know what I mean? So I think that is a big issue because people actually don't know what the movie is about, and that's kind of weird to say, but obviously, something like Star Wars is much more intuitive. You have good guys, you have bad guys, they fight each other. trailer. It's not as clear-cut in this, and of course it is clear-cut in the sense that it's Batman versus Superman, but of course the conflict is much more in-depth and kind of layered than is a conflict like Star Wars The Force Awakens, which again, the ad campaign is intuitive. It's incredibly obvious who the good guys are and the bad guys. The guy wearing all black, he's a bad guy. So in this instance, the guy wearing all black in this movie is not a bad guy. They're all good guys, so I think they need to actually explain why is Superman going after Batman and vice versa. I think at the point in which this little teaser takes place, Batman is already in tune to what Superman is capable of, so I don't think that Batman actually attempted to achieve anything by running the Batmobile over him. I'm sure that he was pretty aware of what was going to end up happening if he were to do that. My point in saying that is to keep a keen eye for what Batman's intentions were in that exact moment. Clearly, he was probably baiting him via the bat signal, so Superman probably saw that. He's like, let me go investigate, and they probably encountered each other that way. But by the looks of it, Batman wanted to speak to Superman, and of course, their conversation, as far as we know, it looks like we got the whole thing between the trailer we got 2 days ago and the one, yesterday. I think that that's pretty much the entire conversation, so I don't think he really accomplished much in that conversation, so I'm really intrigued to know what the purpose of Batman's confrontation with Superman was there, because obviously he wasn't expecting to actually just beat him or run him over and kill him and like, oh, that's it, he's dead. I'm also intrigued to note what level of threat Batman believes Superman poses to mankind. Does he view him as a potential threat, or does he view him as a threat? In other words, is Batman going to be working thoroughly and vividly to actually eliminate the threat of Superman because he views him as an eminent, ordained threat to mankind that at any point could eliminate all of mankind, and that'll be explained and kind of explored in the nightmare sequences where Batman genuinely fears Superman? Or does he view him as a potential threat and that he's not really in a rush to take him out, but he definitely thinks that there should be some restrictions on him? I think that, which avenue Batman kind of thinks is very important to how he will actually address and encounter Superman, so I think we should keep an eye on that as well. So anyway, guys, I hope you all have enjoyed the video. We are just now over 2 months away. That's kind of insane to think. We've been anticipating this movie for years and years, and now it is only 2 months away. Batman v Superman is actually here, which is kind of insane to say. I hope you guys are looking forward to it as much as I am. Drop a like if you enjoyed, and we'll talk to you in the comments. Hope you guys have enjoyed. We'll see you in the next one.